My father-in-law died in 2024, but I still want his advice on business, work, and honestly, anything he had opinions about, which was a few. So I wondered, can anyone actually reach their loved ones on the other side for coaching? Is that possible? I decided to find out with the help of a very talented spiritual medium. That's today on Woo Biz. Hello and welcome to another edition of Woo Biz. My name's Andy Walker. This is the show where we help you understand and explore all the esoteric arts as it pertains to your business. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business leader, if you're an innovator or a creative, if you listen to us, we're going to show you different mechanisms on how to use your extrasensory powers, how to use energy, how to use all kinds of other modalities to enhance your success in your work. And today on the show, we've got somebody very special. I ran into this lady through a referral from one of our amazing listeners, a guy called Steve Agis. Steve, thank you so much for this introduction. Steve introduced me to Helen Peacock. She's a spiritual medium who is extremely talented. And I wanted her to talk to us today about how do we connect to the dead and how can we get information from them? Is that possible without a medium, without hiring somebody like her? Can we learn that process? And the answer is, yeah, we can, but not in the way you might think. So stick with this episode all the way to the end because there's so many pieces of maximum value that will help you understand this process and then how to enhance your own abilities to communicate to people on the other side. All right, let's get started. Thanks for being on the show. So welcome to Woo Biz.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Quite excited for our conversation.
Yeah. I really wanted to have you on because I know we had discovered about each other that you're building a little program and sort of your mission in life is to help people connect to the spirit world and perhaps even people passed on. And it resonated with me because, I've lost a father-in-law in the last couple of years. And, in my exploration of the woo, and my own abilities, I start to think that I'm having conversations with him. They're very clear. And you don't have evidence. He hasn't told me anything that I couldn't prove outside, but the signal seems really loud. So is this something that anybody can do? Can you reach out to your past father-in-law and get business advice?
100 Yes, it's 100%.
Okay.
It's called your inner knowing. You just know and you can't explain it, which is one of our psychic abilities. Like you might want to call that, it's the gut instinct. You just know, right? And so when you say that, my abilities or there's something going on, well, it's our birthright. We've been born with it.
Mm.
So that's why I'm here to say, you know what? I'm here to help you remember. I'm here to help you know what the tools are so that if you wish to expand on it, to build it, make it stronger so that you can have your own connections with your loved ones in spirit. Because the most important thing to remember is they want to have that conversation with you.
Oh, they do. Okay.
They want,
They
oh,
do.
yes.
Oh,
Well,
interesting.
this is what I say to my clients. You ready for this?
Sure.
You try being dead and knocking on the door, no one's answering.
Yeah, that's annoying. That would be really annoying, right?
Like, imagine what that must be like being dead,
How frustrating. You're like
right?
supposed to be all heaven and angels and you just can't get through on a
Yeah.
basic thing.
Well, but you know what it is though too, is the everyday person that are missing their loved ones, that's what they're looking for is for a conversation, but it's not necessarily that's how they're communicating,
Uh,
depending on how clairvoyant you are and how strong you are in your own, if you want to call them gifts. But they love to give you signs, but more than anything, they love to play.
man,
They just love to
they do,
play.
eh? They've got sense of humor and
They
they're
do.
creative in how they reach out and they have different abilities and
Yes.
stuff. Okay, we're going to get into that in a sec.
Yes.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty though, and before you start to show us exactly how
Mhm.
anybody can do this, tell me how how you became aware of your abilities because sometimes something's been around forever and sometimes it's comes later in life. For me, it really didn't start to seriously show up into my
Mhm.
50s or so, right? So what's your story?
Well, like yourself, mine developed basically later in life.
Mhm.
I've always been a strong empath. I was always interested in the unknown, the metaphysical world ever since I was a kid.
Sure.
Interested in, the whole psychic things and what's beyond this universe and things like that. And then, I had to go through my childhood, then I had to go through my teens, and then I ended up leaving home at a very young age. So that was an experience. And then, not sure if you know this, but then I was an Argo cheerleader for 4 years. So I was in
Oh,
the
fun.
that kind of industry, and
Sure.
then got married and had kids. So
Oh.
basically, what happened was I had to develop my own personal library, my life references, and go through my own healing journey.
Mm.
Right? So you name it, I've gone through it in relationships and things like that. And so it actually officially took place when my grandmother passed away.
Huh.
So it was like she passed the gift down to me. Actually, I'll rewind the bus on that one. It was passed down to my mother and then to myself, but my mother chose not to really do anything about it.
I see.
She could see dead people,
Mhm.
and she's had her own experiences, but she just kind of put it aside. But we're very intuitive together. Like I'll tap into her, she'll tap into
Mm.
me. But the doors actually opened, or should I say, they came out of the closet. More so again, things were starting to happen to me really quickly, like so much so that I didn't know what was happening. I
Mm.
couldn't understand it. And I'm like, there's something here. And then I started off by studying all different types of healing modalities.
Okay.
So once I started tapping into all of the healing modalities, then my frequency became higher and stronger and higher and stronger. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting this communication starting to come through.
Mm.
And I decided, I really want to do something with this, but I need someone who knows what they're doing.
Sure.
And so I just, through all kinds of workshops, classes, found the best teachers out of the UK and trained with them. And but the thing is that I had to own it. I had to want it.
Mhm.
And, when I started giving messages and I started seeing confirmations and the validations and the healings, I was like, "Oh, this is what I wanna do."
This is real stuff,
So then
yeah.
I just Yeah, so then I just, like, I focused and put all my energy into what I'm doing now. So
So I mentioned in your bio, at the beginning of the show that you'd been to Arthur Findlay College, and that's a very famous psychic
Mhm,
development college in London, England, isn't it?
very much.
Well,
Yes, now I didn't go there physically.
okay.
I was trained by their tutors who came here.
Oh, interesting, interesting. So they were on a
Yeah,
tour.
one came here.
Yeah.
One came here. He's one of my favorites. His name is Andy Bang.
Mhm.
And then there's the other one, just went blank. I flew down to
Tre
Denver and
Trevor?
trained with
Was it? Oh,
Tony
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 Stock.
Stockwell.
Yeah, 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 I've heard of him.
Yeah, and also Lisa Williams. She didn't really train with Arthur Finley. She's the badass. So
So
you can't be a badass when you study with Arthur Finley College. So
I got it.
just because they're very strict, they're like everything's very, very strict. I
Right.
found that out.
Yeah, yeah,
So
apparently
I kinda
the
Yeah, but
procedures
I
are
found
very.
my own niche,
Mhm,
very much so, and so but as we move forward, times have changed, so they're kinda still kinda back there. Now this is just my own personal opinion,
mhm.
but they're still, like, can I say, like, more in the old-fashioned way where it's just like, "No, times have changed, things are different now, and people want this now." Not necessarily, "You can only be a medium if you do this, 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 and
Right,
say this, 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 and validate this, this, and this." It's like, "Yeah, no, I don't roll that way."
right,
So,
right.
I am who I am.
That's very cool. It's very cool, though. So then it sounds to me like so you got trained, you got validated, you went through the process with obviously some really amazing mentors. Perhaps these
Mhm,
guys are some of the best in the world for sure. I mean,
mhm.
they have their reputation precedes them. So there you are. You're a fully fledged working psychic medium or psychic. Would you consider yourself a psychic medium where you talk to dead?
They call themselves more mediums,
Yeah.
spiritual mediums, more mediums
Hmm.
than the you see, that's the thing is I don't call myself a psychic medium, I
No.
call myself a spiritual medium, and the reason why I don't say psychic is because we all are psychic.
Yes.
We all are.
Right. Right.
Right?
And
So
that's
and then
intuition. Right.
then people also get afraid of that word. They're just like, "Ooh, it's too woo woo,"
Yeah.
and it's like, well, no, not necessarily because 'cause you're woo then, if that's what you think.
Well, I mean, that's the whole human experience, I think, is woo-woo. It's just, this sort of materialist of application that we've had to live with for the last 150 or 200 years
Mhm.
where, we're meat sacks and when we die, we become dirt. I mean, that's, sort of the kind of boiled the spirituality out of us in the last, at least pop culture in the last 150, 200 years or so, you know? So, anyway, so it's good. I like it, spiritual medium. And that means that you speak to, or you can connect with ascendant
Yep.
ascendant beings as well as people who've passed, or like who would you say you're connecting to primarily?
It's connecting to loved ones, and
Mm.
even their pets may come through
Oh,
as
yeah.
well, because it's all energy. We're connecting with energy.
Mm,
I don't channel when people say, "Well, do you channel the collective? Do you
mhm.
Abraham or,
Any of
you
those, yeah.
know, the arc," whatever that is, right? And I'm like, "No,
Nope.
I just connect with loved ones in spirit."
Huh?
Not saying I would never do it,
Yeah.
but right now my focus is to help everyone with their loved ones through their grieving process.
And so can we all do this? Can we? Can we? Can we?
Absolutely. Yes,
Alright.
we can.
Yeah, good.
But the secret is, and it's very, very simple, is trust.
Mhm. I'm
Is
finding that
trust
that's
what you're
kind of
receiving.
yeah, that's I'm finding that's kind of the critical piece, right? Is as soon as you
Mhm,
disbelieve, it all turns off. As soon as you believe, it actually starts to amplify. Nobody said that to me, and of course, with all this sort of taboo stuff, "Oh, psychic's weird, blah, 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 blah," of course, people do turn it off. As you said, your mother skipped out on it because it just wasn't socially acceptable.
mhm.
But I do believe as soon as I turn my attitude towards, "Oh, this is possible," and I am getting messages and look, I was the most skeptical guy going. I was an atheist for the longest time, you know? So as soon as I started to see evidence, I'm just like, no, I'm all in. And then the messages started to come louder. Now I am very early in my I'm not you. And I aspire to be somebody like you, but I'm early in my journey. But it is starting to happen because I chose to believe that it could. And it is. So I love that tip. That's like kind of one of the cornerstones, I would imagine. So what else do I need to know?
Basically is it's not just there's I call it, looking into your toolbox. And so, because I'm creating the online course for people who want to use this part of their everyday,
Mhm.
or they want to use this as a profession. And it's getting to know the tools. And I'm here to help you, remind you what your tools are, and having fun with it at the same time. Like there's so many ways that you can tap into it and have fun. So you have to develop your psychic abilities before you jump into mediumship,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Everybody can be a psychic, but not everybody can be a medium,
Interesting. Or at least it
okay?
takes a lot of work,
And
no?
so yes, but
Mhm.
again, it's trusting what you're receiving. And so we all have our senses, and that's the first thing, is tapping into our senses. And so that's how spirit communicates with me, or with everybody, every other medium, and that is through our senses. So my senses are completely heightened, right? And so, and I'm a very, how should I say? I'm very much an observer. So
Mhm.
everywhere I go, it's like I'm taking in information. I'm taking in information through my senses. And I'll make a point of, say, for example, reading different types of books and watching different types of movies and documentaries, right? So I'm
Sure.
taking in information, which becomes my personal library, my life references. And so that's what your loved ones use to communicate with me. They impress on me by using my personal library. It's
Mm.
like people say, "Well, can you tell me what my dream means to me?" And it's like, "Well, no, because it will mean something different to me as it would for you." Like,
Mhm.
for example, if I was to ask you, "What does a horse mean to you?" Can you tell me, Andy? What does a horse mean to you? What does it represent?
I don't know. Agriculture? Racing? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's a good answer. It's a
Yeah.
good answer. For me, a horse represents strength and freedom.
Oh, I see, yeah, symbolically. Sure, sure.
So you would have a different interpretation. So who am I to tell you what your dream means to you?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We have our own interpretation of people, of situations, right? Of objects. You have your own interpretation. And that's the first thing I do say to my clients is understand that what I'm giving you is my interpretation of what I'm receiving, not necessarily being on, but hoping to come close to whatever it is your loved ones wish for me to say.
Mhm.
It's not communicating with your loved ones is not like the conversation you and I are having right now.
Right.
It's not that easy. It's through signs and symbols. The language of spirit is through signs and symbols
I see.
and through our senses, right? So
Yeah.
my niche is I feel. I
Oh, okay.
feel. So I invite them, the loved ones, to blend in with me so I can feel the true essence of who they are. It's kinda like I think this is part of the reason why I went into acting is I want to become the character, I wanna bring that character to life,
Right.
right? So I feel I'm doing the same thing with the spirit realm, is they're blending in with me, and it's like they're here, but they're blending in with me, and it's like I become them.
So tell me your experience. So, okay, so you have a client and you're gonna connect to somebody who's passed. So what's the if we were shooting a movie about it, what would we see you do? And then what would if we cut inside your head, what would we see happening inside your head when you're making a connection to somebody who's passed?
Yeah, so it's kinda like saying your imagination, that's your third eye,
Yeah.
right? And so it comes really quick. As
Okay.
they say, it's like watching a movie kinda going by, right?
Mhm.
So before I start, I set the intention, I create the space with myself, with my clients, or even a group, or
Mhm.
even at an event, doing the breath work, setting intention, creating the sacred space, and I only invite those who are from the pure divine light, right? And it puts my clients in ease as well,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And so then I just go, "Okay, who wants to come out and play?"
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's just I put my energy out, I just push my energy out, and then I just call the loved one in, and then it's just whatever they make me feel, and again, I'm tapping into my senses, so I may smell something, I may taste something,
Oh.
I may get the emotion, they may show me how they passed. Sometimes there'd be, like, a tightness in my chest if they had a heart attack, right? Or if I get a fluid filling up my whole body, then it could be they're drowning. So there's
Mm.
different ways. Or sometimes they don't even show me how they passed. They'll just jump right into the message or they'll jump right into their personality, right? I
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
finished a call and connected with Charlie, and he was a Joker. And he actually showed me the playing card Joker. And I'm like, oh, this one's a
Ah,
Joker, all right.
right.
Right. And he came through with his personality. He was very light, very fun, and then he kind of mentioned a little bit near the end where it's like, I don't really wanna discuss how I passed, but he made me feel that it was very quick and he had regrets about it. So you kinda know where I'm going with that, but he
Mhm.
did not want to make it heavy for my client, which was his girlfriend.
Mm.
And I said this to her, I said, "He does not want to make this heavy." I said, "But he is showing me Robin Williams." And she goes, "Oh my god, he so loved Robin Williams."
Wow.
And I said, "Exactly." I said, "What you saw on the outside was all fun and joy and having a good time, but inside there was a darkness,
Yeah.
and he didn't know how to communicate." But then he showed me, himself journaling and writing. It was like a lot of penship, right? Pen work, and I really felt his creativity, and so what he was showing me was that his form of expression was through poetry,
Wow.
right?
Interesting, right.
So these are the unique validations that they show me, but it's also up to the loved one in spirit what they wish to show me. So it's not always what you want to know. It's
Right.
what because they know everything about you, past, present, and future.
Yeah.
They remember what it's like being human, so
Yeah.
they want to make your life easier.
Right.
Now, here's the secret. Your loved ones in spirit will never ever tell you what to do. Ever. They're
Okay.
not allowed to
Oh, okay.
because of law of free will. It's our journey. It's through our choices. But they'll give us the nudges and they'll give us the suggestions, the serendipities, the synchronicities, and then it's up to us whether we want to do anything about these nudges, synchronicities, the signs along the way. Right? They are our helpers and they always want you to ask for help.
Interesting.
They want you to ask. Oh, yeah. Hey,
So
dad, help me with the parking spot.
yeah. Or with the business, right? Like, let's say you had I mean,
Anything,
yeah.
especially if you have a loved one in spirit that had a field that they were really, really good at, then
Yeah.
for sure you want their assistance, right?
Sure.
Now remember this, our loved ones in spirit become very highly intelligent beings, very intelligent. And
Mm.
sometimes I like to like Charlie, the client that I just finished with, or my client in spirit. That's one thing he joked around saying to his girlfriend, he goes, just so you know, I know everything. I know more than you do,
Oh, he knows
right?"
all
And
the
she goes,
naughty
"Oh,
bits.
that is something he would definitely say." It's like he's rubbing it in.
Oh, that's really funny. What
Yeah.
he knows all your dirty secrets, right? As well as the good ones, I suppose, too.
Well, they know everything about me, right?
Mm.
And I share that with my yeah, they know everything about me,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
So
But
no, and they test me. Like Charlie, and the reason why I can say Charlie is because I just finished with connecting with him
mhm,
just before I came on with you.
mm.
So he was testing me to say certain things, and I'm saying to him like telepathically, "I'll say it. You want me to say it? I'll say it." And he's like, "Say it." just to see the expression on her face, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like, "Just so you know, Charlie tested me on that one." She's like, "Oh, that's so Charlie."
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all their personality comes out, their knowledge comes out, information that they have access to, if they're willing to share it, will sometimes be relevant to you. And so you're saying, so in that, so if I, so I can obviously go to a medium and make a request and connect that way and almost have a conversation with them because you seem to be able to do that. In
Now,
Go ahead.
that is true, but here's the thing is no medium, no psychic can guarantee you that
No.
and should never guarantee you that,
Sure.
ever,
Sure.
because it's not up to us, it's up to the spirit realm.
Right. But if I want to develop myself and start those conversations, then if I have the intention
Mm,
and the idea, then I can start that practice. So tell me, do we have some little steps that we can follow or a procedure, or is it a bigger conversation? Like, where do we start with this to try to get information across to our listener to help them start to practice this, you know?
yeah, and that's a good question, thank you for asking. The first thing that I would suggest is meditation.
Mhm. Okay.
Is learning how to go within, even if you just start off with 5 minutes a day. And that can start off with a guided meditation, listening to music, being out in nature. So,
Mhm.
really tapping into who you are as a
Mhm.
human
Right.
and being aware again of all your senses,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So, meditation for sure, getting to know the clairs. I don't know
Mhm.
if you know the clairaudient, clairsentience,
Yes,
all of the
we did a whole
clairs,
episode on
the
that, yeah.
chakras,
Mhm.
getting to know the chakras and all of that. So those are all part of the tools,
Mhm.
but definitely is just starting off, like just sitting quietly and talking to them in your and here's the thing is it doesn't matter whether you talk out loud or in your thoughts because they can hear both.
Mhm.
But I say if you want to have a stronger connection, if you really want to be heard, voice it out loud because that's the vibration that you're putting out there,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Here's the other thing. When you want to tap in and have a stronger connection, always make sure that you are in a really good mood. So, for example, play some music that's going to make you feel really good, dance, whatever it is, get the body moving. Think of a really happy, good memory, right? That's going to really lift up and boost up your frequency as well.
Mhm.
Because if you're depressed, it lowers your energy. You're in a dense, heavy energy where they're up really high, they're in a higher dimension. And so, if that's why I say to my clients, don't go see a medium for like 3 months. You must go through that grieving process, right?
Mhm.
So having that connection. So light a candle, set the intention, right? Making sure you're in a really good headspace and drop into your heart. That is so important.
And
Just drop into your heart
so how do I do that? What does that mean?
by you mean dropping into your heart?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What it means is to me, what it means
Mm.
is like being in a place of love,
Mm.
being in the place of gratitude
Feel it.
and loving yourself,
Yeah.
right? Really feel that,
Okay.
right? It's like whenever you watch a movie, do you get emotional, right? If there's a sad scene or someone dies in the movie, do you feel that from the
Mm.
character? Do you
Sure.
feel that in the story? When you read a book, do you feel that? So it's allowing the emotions to come up. Allow the emotions to come up, right?
Right.
But still, I would say meditation and doing your grounding as well out in nature, but it's baby steps and having fun with it as well. Everyone thinks it's like so serious and doom and gloom. It's like, nope, I don't take it seriously,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mm.
The only time I take it seriously is if my client is really struggling. Like I call it, it's an emotional roller coaster ride in every session that I have.
Mhm.
It's always a roller coaster ride, but yeah, those are some tools to start with,
Very good. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Book, there are all kinds of books out there if you wanted to tap in and received information from different psychics, different mediums, people who are receiving and their experiences when they're receiving the signs and the messages.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite
Who
book?
is one of I don't there's too many.
Yeah.
I have too many, like, if you can see,
Yes.
it's a little bit there.
Yeah, I got a big library back
Um
there I can see.
There's one that really made a big difference for a lot of my clients. Oh, I forget the Billy Fingers.
Okay.
What's it called? Billy Fingers. Um, when I first started, you know who was I'm gonna show my age here. Sylvia Brown
Oh, yeah.
she was
In
one
the
of the
'80s.
first books, one of the
Yeah.
first books that was introduced to me.
Yeah.
But I didn't real before I even started tapping into this, I was already kind of connected to the new age world, but didn't know it.
Right.
And believe it or not, it was Shirley MacLaine out on a
Oh,
limb.
yes, yeah. Well, she was kinda one of the first, like,
And
out, wasn't she, really, with
she
this?
very first celebrity, like, she
Yeah.
really she really took a chance, and
Yeah.
now people look back at her and, like, they call her the guru,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, she
Just
was a
because she was the
pioneer.
first one.
Mhm.
Yes, and
Mhm.
I actually went and saw her live.
Oh, you
She
did, eh?
did a talk,
Oh, cool.
several years ago, so I went she's one of my f they al you never hear that saying? If there's one person that you could sit down and have a conversation with, who would that be? And mine's Shirley MacLaine because being an actress, professional dancer,
Mm.
so connected, and she sits in Mexico where her house is and watches all the UFOs come in,
That's
right?
right.
So she's
Yeah, yeah.
really out there,
Yeah, she really is.
right?
Yeah.
But she's so, so smart, like,
Yeah.
so smart.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so she was probably one of, my very, very first before I even started tapping into, psychic work, healing work. Um, then she became a born again Christian, what's her name? I've got all her cards. Doreen Virtue.
Okay. Doreen
She was
Virtue,
one
yeah.
of I tapped into a lot of hers, for learning,
Mhm.
right? Um, yeah, there's so much
There's
out
so many
there, and
tools.
there's so much
Yeah.
online,
Yeah. No, it's right. Okay, well, I'll curate
and when
a
I
little
first
list.
started
So
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
for
absolutely.
our show notes, I'll curate a little list for everybody.
Mhm.
I mean, I have some of my favorites. We had a couple of folks on here had a couple of great books, and there's one recently that I was really blown away by. I think it's called How to Be Psychic. I think it was just called something like that. But I don't know. I'll put it in the show notes
Oh,
because it's has great exercise and stuff. But you're right. Like get educated, right? Find your jive, see where it sits with you. Go to a bookstore and
yeah,
go browse and see which books call to you and then just make a
yeah.
feast of the information. Honestly, I think that's,
Well,
really good advice.
that's what I've done.
Mm,
I've got the meat and potatoes done. I just now have to do the technical part, but I'm creating the online course.
great.
And what I've done is I've taken all the tools that I've learned that worked really good for me,
Mhm,
through books, through all my teachers. It's like the ingredients from each of one of them, and then just put them into one big pot.
mhm,
Right? And I've made it fun as well. It's workbook, I'm doing video work, doing meditation, so I've got voice work. So it's very interactive at the same time,
right.
and then creating a community, bringing like-minded people together so that you can practice with one another, and
Right.
then we're gonna practice through meditations, Q&As, and things like that. So but you wanna be around like-minded people so that you can bounce off of each other and that you feel comfortable. Right? Because the first thing you do is you always think you're wrong. Well, what if I get it wrong? Well, yeah, that's how you're gonna learn is through your mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I say there's so much knowledge out there. And when I first started, we didn't have internet,
No.
right? So now you've got so much, and then I watch videos too. There's videos out there where you can learn from teachers and whatnot. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a huge library, huge library.
So tell me once you say do all these practices, like, so what you described in terms of the processes is very similar to the process I've been going through in the last 6 months. So I go on long walks and they're very meditative. I do sit down like a little guru on a cushion sometimes and meditate that way. I'm going to classes. I read a ton of books. I work really
Hmm.
hard on raising my vibration, coming from a place of happiness and joy and love. As you said, living in your heart or coming
I
from
love
your
it.
heart. So I do all of those things too. So tell me, let's say we got a listener out there who just says, "Yeah, I'm doing what Andy's doing. I'm along the path too." Um, so what can we expect next? Like, what is the early messages that we might see, or how do we know when we've heard a message or seen a symbol or something like that? And then how do we start the validation process?
Well, first of all, leave your expectations at the door.
Okay, right, right. That's fair
Don't
enough.
expect it.
No, because as soon as you
Don't
expect and
expect
try,
it,
it won't
because
work,
again
right?
yeah, because you're looking, right?
Yeah.
And you'll still doubt it when you're looking. It's trusting, allowing yourself to receive,
Okay.
right? And don't forget your spirit guides as well. So between your higher self, your spirit guides, and your loved ones, you're constantly getting information in, but you don't wanna sit there and be overwhelmed by all that.
Mm,
There's one thing that you mentioned that I really liked, and that's when you said when you go for long walks. That's an act of meditation.
yes.
And that's when a lot of inspirations and thoughts and music, if your loved ones love music, and all of a sudden, where did that come from? Or a memory will drop in. Where did that come from? That reminds me of him. That reminds me of her. Or I'm smelling that cigarette. Oh my God, that's my dad. My dad smoked all the time. So he's impressing that on you.
Mm.
Or all of a sudden you craving a dish that your grandmother made and you haven't tasted that, you haven't thought about it or you haven't smelt it. Again, it's through your senses. They're constantly impressing through your senses.
Mm.
But if you're not noticing it, it's just like going in one ear out the other. So now it's becoming a point of being more aware and acknowledging, being
Mhm.
more aware and acknowledging.
Okay, okay.
Even if you're not even 100% sure, still
Yes.
say thank you.
Still say thank you. Yeah, yeah, because you never know what
Still
you're
say
getting, right?
thank you.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I covered your answer there.
I think you did. I mean, I think, you're saying I'm doing the right things. Now, but let's talk about let me tell you what I'm seeing and what I'm getting here and there and how it started, and then let's talk about what most people can expect, and maybe my experience is maybe unique or maybe different from other people. It's probably aligned with some people, though.
Everyone receives differently because everyone has their personal different library, their own journey,
Right. Well,
right?
what tends to happen with me is if I'm thinking about my father-in-law, right? I'll remember
Mhm.
the good times we had together, and we like to drink wine together, and we're both journalists from he worked all his career, and I stopped doing that. Well, I mean, this is technically journalism, I guess, but, my official journalism career ended about 10 years ago, and I switched into marketing.
Mhm.
But that said, he and I had a lot in common, so I was thinking about him, and then what tends to happen is in my imagination, in that headspace that I have, he starts to talk to me. Now, the information is very basic, and you could argue that it's just me making it up, right? Sometimes it feels like that. Well, except that the information flows and I don't have a pre-thought like, "Oh, I should think about that next." The just information comes. So,
It flows.
it flows,
It
yeah,
flows.
and I don't
And
know
it's
what's
your
coming.
voice.
It's my voice.
It's in your voice.
Mhm.
See,
Mhm.
that's where people get confused.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes the spirit can come through and make it a loud voice to get your attention, like say your name,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So it might be a different frequency.
Sure.
But when they do come through, again, it's very fluid, very, very fluid. And it's usually always something positive.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
they're giving you, "Why don't you try this?" They're trying to give you, again,
Yeah,
some
suggestions.
suggestions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, for some reason, I don't know why, but I keep getting fishing around you, right? So I'm just getting a lot of fishing right near the water. I feel like he's trying to say, "I love when you're near the water, Andy." Water is a conduit. It's the way you feel around the water. So there's something there, especially when you're out in nature,
Mhm.
because he knows your frequency. So that's when he'll be around you more, is outdoors, but there's something to do with water and fishing.
He was a crazy
So,
fisherman. He was a crazy fisherman.
yeah.
Just picked that up.
So he's
That's
just kind of,
amazing.
yep,
Yeah, that was
yep.
his that was
But
his
that's very, and especially if that's something he loved to do,
Mhm.
and then bringing you there, and
Mhm.
so you feel that from him.
Mhm.
So because that's something that he loved to do,
Yeah.
so he's tapping in with you, and you know that, right? Now, is there a red vehicle, a red truck? We
There
need to
was
acknowledge
yeah, there
a
was.
red truck.
Ye I had one, but this is going back a couple of years, like a little
Okay,
hatchback.
so
Yeah.
he's tapping into that.
Yeah.
I feel like he's bringing, now it might not even be him. We may have another loved one that's coming through that
Interesting.
wants to acknowledge this red car,
Huh.
right?
Yeah.
Even though it was an old vintage, doesn't matter. There's no concept of time when it comes to spirit realm or
Right.
for you, right? But I feel like there's something there with this message with this red car.
Hmm.
And it's like you say, vintage, but it's also, I feel like he's trying to get you to tap into your creativity. So,
Mhm.
creativity, whether, build one or fix it, or do you have a car right now that needs to be fixed?
Yeah, but not red, though. There's something there
Doesn't
was
matter. No, no, no.
yeah.
You see where I'm going?
Okay.
So, remember
You're saying
this,
car.
we're connecting the dot.
Mm.
We're connecting the dots. We are putting the pieces of a puzzle together. So for him to mention the car that you have now, for some reason he wants me to mention car by showing me a red car from your past.
Oh, I see.
Okay?
Yes.
So it's just his way. So it's bringing it into the conversation we're starting it. Okay, so there's something about your car. So whether you had problems with that red car, keep this one fixed, keep it maintained. It's like he's kind of poking at you.
Yeah.
Like, Andy,
Yeah.
get on this. Don't let this get any worse. Get on it. But he's poking you as he's saying
Interesting.
this.
I have a car that has a airbag warning, so maybe he's saying,
There you
"Hey,
go. So
fix that."
he's saying, "I know this." Is his way of saying, "I'm aware of what's happening in your everyday."
Mhm.
Right? So get on it, do something about it. So this is the nudge, not telling you what to do. He's giving you the nudge.
Wow, interesting. Very good. So could I amplify that now? Like next time I go to meditate, if I sort of said, hey, during the interview, Helen brought up this red car and a problem with the car. So if I just sort of set the intention, I want more information there, and I sort
Mhm.
of sit on my couch and do my thing, or even go for another walk or something, to potentially then I could get additional information not layered on top of this, do you think?
You may get it in that moment,
Mhm.
again, through your senses, or you say it and then you let it go, and you don't worry about how you're gonna receive the answer,
Ah,
right?
oh, good tip.
Walk away. So the answer may show up, in a license plate the next day. Car tries to swerve, cut you off or whatever, and all of a sudden, fixed car. I'm just using it as a quick example, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying is the signs will show up in different ways, or
Mhm.
the answer could show up. You turn on the radio and it will say that airbag commercial's coming on to tell you something, and it's like, okay, he's here again because I just heard this airbag commercial.
Ah, I got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that's what I'm saying with the synchronicities and the serendipity. So you may not get your answers in that moment,
right,
but you could also feel what he may want to say.
right,
You may get your imagination is what's speaking to you. Your imagination's your higher self. It's your soul speaking to you. So he may be tapping in through that way. There's so many different ways. So many different ways. And that's why I say it it doesn't have to be in a box. Communication's not in a box.
right.
We're here to expand, right? So many different ways of receiving answers, information, conversations. As I always say, your loved ones want you to pick up the phone to continue the conversations, just
Right.
in a different way.
So they could come in, like you said, in different ways, and I just have to be aware and remember that I've,
Yep.
I've asked for that information and then just look for signs and symbols and
Yeah.
weird things that might just point me to the answer. Is that right?
Now there is that. Now there's those who like tarot cards,
Oh, yeah.
right? Or they want to get their answers through pendulums.
Right.
And so this is where I say, try not to trust those tools. What I would suggest is sit with the answers, whatever you think you're feeling, whatever you think you're getting, and then perhaps then go to the cards or a pendulum for confirmation. You
Mhm.
don't want to start, or if you're really new to this, then start off by tarot cards or certain affirmation cards. There's all kinds of them out there. Start off with cards and feeling and reading from them. Same with the pendulum. Ask the questions, but go within first, then turn to the tools, right? Because
Mhm.
I started off that way. And then what happened was I fell in love with pendulums. People would gift me them. I would be at a show and I'd buy one just because I love the color or the feel of it.
Sure.
And every single one of them went missing.
Really?
Every single one of them. And so I caught on okay, I get it. I wasn't using my intuition.
Oh,
I was relying on the tools. Now,
right.
tools are good if you're just starting out, if you're a beginner, right? So it is just to get the feel of it.
All right. So if you're having trouble getting the messages, you use a pendulum. Look up, and this I've seen lots of videos, for example, on how to sort of set one and
Hmm.
tarot cards. I guess it's a bit more difficult. But angel cards, all those guys are there's some of the simple
Yeah.
decks and stuff that you can use. Or even
All kinds.
imagine even a magic 8 ball. I mean, I would imagine is for anything that can kind of
Yeah,
facilitate communication, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Even playing cards. Even playing cards.
Mm. Oh,
You
really?
can create
Yeah.
them to be your own way. Yeah, you're creating your own.
You define what the suits mean and what
Yep.
the numbers mean and the kings and the jacks, and then you use them and see what comes up. Is that right?
That's how they originated from.
Oh, is that right? Oh, is there a bit of a mystical thing
Oh,
behind them?
yeah.
Yeah?
They started with playing cards,
No kidding.
and then they didn't want the public to know, so they used playing cards, but they didn't want people to know. They were like, "Oh, no, we're just playing cards. We're
Right.
just
Right, it's like a stealth,
playing cards."
a double meaning. Oh, interesting. So it became
Yep,
games and then
yep,
also for esoteric purposes too. That's
yep.
really cool. That's really cool. Who knew that just like, if you play a game of war, that it could actually be used for, woo things too. That's fun. That's a lot of
Yeah.
all right. I promised everybody we could do a little exercise. Is there anything you have in mind that we could just do for 5 minutes before we wrap up? Just so somebody can kinda go out there and
Oh,
do a bit of an exercise quickly? Like, everybody loves these exercises because then they come back to the podcast and they play them again, and then they actually sit there and practice. So
I didn't really have one in mind.
well, let's cook one up.
Hmm.
What would be just a simple step by step? You could even take me through like the process of going, I'm going to connect.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the
Mm.
thing. So let's say we want to expand on our third eye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we want to, first of all, here's one you can do on your own is staring at and focusing on a candlelight, a flame, the flame.
Okay.
So just focusing on that, and then that helps to open up the third eye as well.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing we can do is so keeping your eyes open, um, pick a room in your house. Just pick a room and tell me what that is. What room?
My TV room.
Okay. So I want you to describe to me, like as if I'm blind, describe to me your TV room.
So it's a rectangular. It's the northeast corner of the house. It has a white couch with an L shape that's not fully connected. So it's like there's a footstool and then there's a couch. There's a big, there's a little waterfall in there, electric waterfall. TV on the wall, sitting on a wall that's got this crystal kind of interface on the back of it. So it's kind of very crystalline. On the one side, there's an entrance to the main house, and then there's a stairway up the side of that room. On the floor is sort of a nice sort of dark kind of mahogany color on the in the sort of floor, bamboo. I think it's bamboo or something. Very comfortable, nice light. It's as I said, it's northeast facing, so we get the end of the day sunset. Just a beautiful place, really,
Mm,
really very
mhm.
relaxing. And a white
Okay,
square coffee table in the middle made of wood.
perfect.
All right.
So you used your third eye for that. You imagined it. You
I
pictured
did. I did. You're right.
your TV room. And while you're talking, I'm seeing it in my third eye. I'm imagining and I'm seeing that in my third eye.
Whoa,
Wait,
that's
and
cool.
you were very descriptive, which was very good, by the way. Right? I've had some people say, "Well, I've got a couch, I've got a TV," and it's like, "Yeah, but where? How about some detailing? Give me some textures, give me some color," right? Even the
Yeah.
sunset at the end.
Yeah.
So that is what again, you're using your you did that, and some people have to close their eyes, but I
Mhm.
make people do it with their eyes open.
Yeah.
So same thing when I'm connecting with you, just like your father-in-law showed me the car, showed me him fishing off the dock, right?
Yes,
But I'm
yes.
seeing it at the same time I'm talking. So you
Um,
learn to build that as you're talking, but you did that to me
yeah.
by describing your TV room.
And I
See
did
where I'm going?
because I did conjure up an image of it, and I had to kinda look
Yep.
through it to tell you which pieces, and so oh my god, yeah. Wow, that's a really great
So it's
exercise. So
But
easy.
again, you're tapping in,
Yeah.
that's how your third eye is, but I like people to do it with their eyes open. You
Open.
can practice with your eyes closed. Some people have to do that
Mhm.
to get a better visual, but it's like, "No, let's start right now, like, let's not go with our eyes closed, let's do it right now with your eyes open." There's any conversation when you're trying to describe something, you are using what you're seeing in your third eye.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's a great exercise. I'm gonna use that again and again, and I'm gonna use that with
Mhm.
dinner parties too, because I think,
Yeah, I
sure.
pulled that one out of my hat.
Well, hey, look, you got a good hat. You got a fun hat.
You put me on the spot. I'm like, "Okay, what exercise?" I was just like, "Oh, okay, the third eye."
Good job, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's awesome.
You
Well,
passed.
yeah, thank
You
you, and you
passed.
passed, so that's good too. That's good, that's good. Great, okay, well, let's wrap this up, at least for the main segment.
Okay.
We have everything that people need to know about you, including a link to your website and information about how they can get hold of you in our show notes on woobiz.net. That's awesome.
Mhm, mhm,
I'm going to ask you to stick around a couple more minutes, and we're going to do a little deeper dive on a couple
mhm,
things. I want to talk a bit more about pendulums and tarot cards and things like that. But we'll save that for the members segment, which is at the end of this. And anybody who's interested can check out. Just click on WooBiz Plus on our website, woobiz.net, and we can tell you more about that. But in the meantime, Helen, thanks for hanging out with me for this half hour, at least. Anyway, I know you'll be with us and with a guest in a few minutes. And for everybody else, don't forget to check out our show notes for all information about this show and how to connect with Helen, because as you can tell, you need to call her and get a reading because this is cool. And I guess all your, before I say absolutely goodbye, so
Yeah, so if
helenpeacock.ca or .com?
helenpeacock.ca. And if you're interested, and this is for the everyday person who wishes to take the online course,
Mhm.
again, so you can download it and go at your own pace.
Yep.
I highly suggest that you subscribe
Mhm.
to my newsletter. That way you'll get notice ahead of time of when I'm launching it. And I am aiming for sometime in the new year. I'm taking the Christmas break
Yep.
to focus on all the technical stuff and lots of goodies in the newsletters, upcoming events. I do home group readings, I do one-on-ones. Zooms are very famous. They're the popular ones,
Yeah.
so I can do it anywhere in the world. Telephone if you wish. So yeah, I do have upcoming events. So if you want to know about those, then yeah, visit my website, helenpeacock.ca.
HelenPeacock.ca.
And thank you for having me. It
Oh,
was a pleasure.
it was an absolute pleasure. Thanks for hanging out. It was really fun. We'll have you back.
Yeah,
And there's lots more to talk about, right? All right,
great.
folks. Well, thanks for listening this week. That's Helen Peacock, and you know where to find her now. Check out the show notes for more information, helenpeacock.ca. But in the meantime, don't forget, my name is Andy Walker. This is Woo Biz, so stay in the woo.